you had some tennis yesterday that I was watching, and I was kind of going in and out. You got Djokovic, who won the French Open, his 19th major, and that's one shy of the all-time record. That's currently shared by Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal. And Djokovic is 34 and has a great chance to surpass his two longtime foes. You know, we spent a lot of time talking about Tiger Woods chasing Jack Nicklaus and that major. But in America, men's tennis majors aren't a topic. That's because none of the big three are American. And we've invested in Serena Williams. But it's a tricky record to wrap your head around. Is Djokovic better than Pete Sampras or Rod Laver or Bjorn Borg? The sport they play today is a whole lot different than it was 30 or 40 years ago. Health, medicine allow these players to compete for a longer period of time. And the rackets certainly help as well. We all know for sure that Djokovic is an all-time player and all-time athlete, no matter how much we do or don't talk about tennis and him. Also, to be able to do it in the era where you have Nadal and Federer, who have won 39 majors between them. And then you get Djokovic, who, I mean, it's pretty incredible that you're able to win. It'd be like if somebody played in the Tiger Woods era and they won 9 majors, but they didn't, you know, because Tiger just dominated everybody. These are two of the greatest players of all time. You can make a case that Federer is the greatest player of all time, but in his era, Djokovic has 19 Grand Slams. Having rivals helps. Didn't feel like Pete Sampras had a rival there. Connors, McEnroe, Bjorn Borg, Yvonne Lendl, you know, having that rivalry, that's what you want. Chris Evert with Martina. I don't know if Serena's really had a rival, but to be able to have that rivalry makes those victories stand out even more. And you have Nadal, who's the greatest clay court player of all time, and you dust him off in 4 sets. Federer, to me, is still the greatest player. Although you can make a case in a different era. Rod Laver was the greatest player of all time. But with what Federer, and the reason why I go back to Federer is when I asked Pete Sampras about this years ago, I said, you know, what do you think of Federer? And he said, he will attempt shots that I can't even think about. Like, I don't even have that in my imagination. And he's attempting those shots and pulling those off. That says an awful lot about, you know, here's Sampras with, 16 Grand Slam events, looking at Roger Federer, and just the fact that what he does, how he does it, he's doing things that I wouldn't even think of doing as far as a shot there. But Djokovic is incredible. I mean, it didn't look like he was working up a sweat. And he always looks like he's visiting a country club. He's going in to play tennis at the club. You know, his shorts are perfectly starched and creases, and his shirt that he was wearing, his hair, he doesn't look out of sorts at all. Whereas Nadal did. Nadal looked like he had played, 10 sets. But that's pretty impressive. That's 19 majors. He's 34 years of age. But to have these three, that's remarkable. I mean, you go back to boxing where you had Sugar Ray, Tommy Hearns, you had Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Like, to win titles in that era, because that's who you had to go through. That's pretty incredible. Now, they don't face each other as many times as you do in tennis, but what Djokovic did yesterday was pretty impressive. Yeah, Paul.
You're right about Djokovic. He doesn't seem to be a big sweater. And early in his career, he went up top button. He used to have like the polo shirt, and he was so composed. He would go top button. Like, I don't even need to unbutton twice to take you down. I'm looking at pictures of him. He looks like it's the 5th set, and he looks like he's just starting the match.
Don't make me unbutton this next button. I don't want to do that to you.
Go time.
Yeah. Yes, McLevin.
So I think this is an appropriate, impossible to rate athlete. Like, if we put a poll, is he overrated, underrated, properly rated, or impossible to rate? Because if he passes Federer in the major record, do we have to say he's better than Federer, or? And you said it. You can't compare him to Rod Laver. I think he's impossible to rate.
Yeah, I think I would say Federer is still the best player that I've seen on all the surfaces, his athleticism. But Nadal fascinates me. Probably more one-dimensional with clay. And that's what stood out even more is that he lost on clay. He doesn't lose on clay. And the fact that Djokovic was able to beat him in 4 sets was really remarkable. And Djokovic was down 2 sets yesterday. So you're down 0-2. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, all right. I gave the crowd, it's almost like when Floyd Mayweather carried one of the Paul brothers. Like, you're just like, yeah, all right, I think it's time to end this now. We're done. And he just went boom, 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 and that was it.